Coming up in this bulletin, phase 2 of re-registration of NHI's registrants ends with low patronage.
Transit trucks stuck at Tema Transit Yard. Good evening, it is News Hour live on GBC24 and Ghana Television. My name is Emmanuel Amagashi.
And my name is Akmene Avo Ajaja. Thanks so much for joining us. Clement Sam is also here. He will do the sign language translation of the news.
In our very first story, President John Mahama interacts with beneficiaries of a year's program in Accra to mark International Year of the Youth. Napoleon Ato Kito reports.
Live, 28-year-old Cyril Lugunia is a university graduate who was unemployed. He latched onto the Youth Enterprise Support Project, known by the acronym YES, and now he tells a different story. The presidential initiative invites business plans or proposals from the youth. It then selects applicants whose business plans met a certain criteria and then provide them with 20,000 Ghana cedis as seed capital to start a business. The beneficiary, who becomes the proprietor of the business, is then given professional guidance by a mentor appointed by the YES executives till the small enterprise gains a foothold. Cyril Lugunia has now made a detour from the psychology course he studied at the university into fish and meat processing, employing 4 persons to assist him. The YES project serves as a bridge between the previously unemployed graduate status and a self-employed businessman.
You want to be an entrepreneur. Where is the way out? Your father, your mom cannot give you. No relative can give you. But if the government comes out to give you this kind of support, I think he deserves much appreciation.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Youth Enterprise Support Project, Helga Buedi, told GBC24 that 107 out of 4,000 applications have been selected so far. According to her, the revolving funds are repayable without interest.
If you spoke to Cyril last year and where he's at now, he's a completely changed person. Has he been transformed? Yes, for the better. Because he now understands that, look, before he said, look, I can make 100% profit. We piloted him. We actually put him to the test and said, show us what you can do, because talking is one thing, but actually delivering is another thing.
The success story of Cyril attracted President John Mahama to Oyibi on the outskirts of Accra to see things for himself.
Yes, does not just give you the assistance and leaves you to go, but they continue to follow up and make sure that, the right thing is being done. So today we are here with Cyril, one of the first beneficiaries, to see how far he's come since he received the assistance.
The president then made his way to Adenta, also in Accra, to observe the progress of another beneficiary of the YES project. 31-year-old Anthony Dumenu is a metal fabricator. He has since expanded his business and employed 7 persons. The president did some welding at his workshop, saying every occupation is worth its salt.
I'm impressed that among the first cohort of those whose proposals were selected for financing by the Youth Employment Support, there were people like Anthony, who does not speak, fluent English or anything, or has any proper formal education, but then he was able to be one of those selected. And it shows that it is done notwithstanding your level of education. The selection is done notwithstanding, which part of the country you come from. The selection is done notwithstanding what political party you are affiliated with. And so it caters to all the youth of this country who have an idea and a passion and want to implement it and be able to become employees.
Next was the Elwak Stadium in Accra, where the president met with a cross-section of young persons factored into business under the Youth Employment Agency, YEA. Thousands of them are employed in the various modules to play auxiliary roles for some security agencies except the armed forces. Some are into community health and coastal sanitation, among others.
Since the year 2016 to date, The Youth Employment Agency has recruited, trained, and deployed, and is in the process of employing over 50,000 youth with jobs under the security, health, community education, teaching assistance, and coastal sanitation module.
To eliminate corruption, the Youth Employment Agency pays its employees with biometric e-switch cards. And this was how the president marked International Day of the Youth. Napoleon Atukitu reporting.
Phase 2 of the re-registration of NHIS registrants ends today. A visit to the Electoral Commission's office for the Ayawaso and Osuklote districts showed that the mop-up exercise made little impact on the figures that were recorded during the main exercise.
The Electoral Commission extended the re-registration of NHIS card registrants from the 5th of August after some eligible voters did not go to their various centers to re-register during the initial exercise. This time, the number of centers had been pruned down, meaning the NHIS card registrants could only re-register at the EC's district offices across the country. At the offices of the Electoral Commission in Accra on the last day of the exercise, centers were opened for the Ayawaso and Osuklote districts, giving the registrants a final opportunity to do so. However, the figures were not encouraging. The district electoral officer for the Ayawaso district, Nangtoma Abdul Rashid, said though the necessary provisions were made to assist registrants in the district, only 899 persons, representing 32.47% out of the total figure, came for re-registration.
We prepared very well for them. In Ayawaso, for instance, because of the numbers involved, because we had about 2,768 affected persons. And so we set up 3 centers to take care of them. We had 3 kits set up here to take care of them. We even had one downstairs to take care of the aged and persons with disability who might not be able to climb the stairs up here for the registration. But unfortunately, the turnout has not been very good. It's not what we expected.
For most of the people who queued at the centers, just a few were there to re-register. A greater number came in to either correct their details in the register or replace a lost identification card with a receipt from the bank as evidence of payment for the replacement. Generally, the EC says the figures were not encouraging. Though the opportunity for re-registration ends today, Friday, August 12, individuals who made requests for correction during the exhibition exercise can still walk into any of the district electoral offices and have their details corrected. Likewise, the replacement of lost ID cards. Miriam Adomako Boating, GBC24, Accra.
We stay a while longer on the re-registration exercise, by this time to the eastern region, where the new Joabeng Municipal Office of the Electoral Commission covered about 60% of eligible voters whose names were deleted from using the National Health Insurance cards to register. Out of 63 persons affected, 38 reported for re-registration.
Up until the last day of the re-registration exercise, turnout was not encouraging in many parts of the region, following the low turnout in the first phase as well as the challenges that came up during the period. The Electoral Commission extended the period by a week to allow those who had not made it to the centers to re-register ahead of the December polls. GBC24 had an interaction with the new Joabeng Municipal Electoral Officer.
With the publicity done on the first phase, that was the one that ended before the mop-up, we had 28 people registering in the municipality. And after the dates been opened up again, we are having 10 people who have added up to the number.
Our news team also met the Municipal Electoral Officer, Mrs. Lydia Ejui-Saki, at an evaluation meeting with the District Party Advisory Committee in Kofodia. They were made up of officials from the NDC, NPP, CPP, and PNC, amongst others. Mrs. Lydia Ejui-Saki commented on the turnout of the 3-week voters exhibition exercise with statistics.
In New Joabeng, we had more than 58,000 people registering from the 2015 register, and we had more than 8,000 people registering from the 2016 register. So we had more than 60% people coming to check their details from the register. So we covered a lot of people from the total number of 127,000 people we had in the register.
Two of the party officials, Mr. Emmanuel Foster Tete of NDC and Mr. Isaac Ejabeng of the NPP, said their parties were working hard in their preparations towards a peaceful election this year.
Dr. Anthony Yaobang of the Public Service Workers Union has been elected as the new Secretary General of the TUC at the just ended 10th Quadrennial Delegate Congress in Kumasi. Dr. Yaobang takes over from Kofi Asamoah after serving as the Secretary General for 2 terms since 2008. Dr. Yaobang was elected unopposed. Until his election, he was the Deputy Secretary General of the TUC for 8 years.
Moving on, from January to June this year, Tema recorded 246 fires with 2 deaths and 9 injuries. During the same period last year, the region recorded 248 fires, showing a decrease of 2. The Regional Fire Command says it is working to reduce further the number of fire outbreaks in Tema to the barest minimum.
Out of the 246 fires reported in Tema, domestic fires accounted for 91, followed by bushfires and commercial. There was 1 gas leakage and 10 industrial fires, with a major industrial fire being the Unilever fire incident, which occurred early in the year. To reduce such incidents, the Tema National Fire Service is continuing to educate market women, industries and institutions to prevent fires. The service is currently embarking on training and retraining of firemen in Tema to ensure their preparedness to fight any outbreak. As part of the program, the firemen have tested their knowledge in a quiz competition and a drill. The exercise, according to the regional fire commander, is to see how abreast the firemen are with the changing trends in firefighting. In the Hydrant 5 drill, firemen from Ada were no match for their colleagues in Tema. In the quiz contest, firemen from Ada beat the Tema Metro to win the competition. The Tema Regional Fire Commander, William Yosin, said the exercise is to sharpen the skills of the firefighters. All fire stations in Tema will participate in the ongoing competition. Meanwhile, the Tema Free Zones Enclave in the coming month will have a permanent fire station to increase response time in dealing with incidents in those areas.
Lecturer at the University of Energy and Natural Resources, Dr. Mrs. Mercy Dechi, says policymakers did a good job with a science, technology and innovation document to guide efforts to get the country fully developed, using science and technology as the basis. She, however, called on duty bearers to consider extending the policy to the primary school level rather than the current concentration on the tertiary and second cycle levels.
It's been more than 10 years of organizing the Regional Science, Technology, Mathematics and Innovation Education Camp. It seeks to get girls who are arguably generally weaker maths and science to improve, to ensure a more progressive scientific development of Ghanaian children. Boys are now part of the STMIE camp. This year's edition in Bonafu region saw about 500 school children from all the 27 municipalities and districts taking part. For a week, the children went on excursions, tried their hands at science projects, and interacted with scientists from various fields. At Deba, a lecturer at the UENR, Dr. Mrs. Dechi stressed the need to encourage the children to study and enjoy maths and science. She believes if they venture into academia, it will help achieve a greater part of the objectives of Ghana's STI policy, which is to put a stop to the export of raw materials and encourage value addition.
Career in science, mathematics, engineering and technology. personnel to drive its modern economy needs to have those skills. Such policies will minimize the brain drain. We hear Ghanaians going out, and when they go out, they do well, they perform well. Why are we not doing well here? So that is the direction of the STI policy.
A representative of the Ghana Education Service, Dominic Asari, said the developed world made strides due to science and technology, and thus Ghana needs to have her children well grounded in science to solve her challenges. He reminded the participants that Ghana's future depends on how science and technology propels development. The Queen Mother of Udumase No. 1, Nana Abena Boatima, encouraged the pupils to take their studies seriously. In all, 30 participants who performed creditably received certificates of excellence. Some of them spoke to GBC24.
I've learned a lot, and especially I came to know how to make bees and even liquid soap.
We learned something about biology and bones. So I get to know the two types of bones and a lot of things.
The participants mounted an exhibition of innovative projects like a model of the heart, fire extinguisher, electrical circuit, oil paint, soap, a battery-powered fan and light. The week-long STMIE camp had the theme Science, Technology, Mathematics and Innovation, an inevitable catalyst for national development.
It is still News Hour live on GBC24 and GTV. Moving on, the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party, NPP, Nana Akufo-Addo, is touring the northern constituencies of the Western region for 5 days. The party is seeking to break the NDC's hold on those constituencies. Nana Akufo-Addo described the NPP as the party capable of surmounting the challenges confronting the country.
The NPP currently has 8 parliamentary seats in the Western region out of a total of 26 seats. In the northern part of the region, it only has 1 out of the 12 seats from Amenfi East to Bia East, a trend the party is determined to change. The flag bearer Nana Akufo-Addo therefore began his campaign tour from Bibiani and was welcomed by sympathizers. A former trade minister, Mr. Alan Trematin, explained that the party has identified 300 projects in line with the One District, One Factory initiative. This, he said, will lead to the creation of jobs for the teeming unemployed youth. Nana Akufo-Addo said his government will bring hope to Ghanaians by reviving all the ailing sectors of the economy, including agriculture. The NPP flag bearer continued to Ariaso, where the Omahene of the traditional area, Ojia Hoho Yaujebi, was concerned about the duration of senior high school education, saying the high incidence of failure recorded in this year's WASI makes it necessary for the duration to be extended. He appealed to Nana Akufo-Addo to make SHS education run for 4 years if he becomes president.
Now do flash staff house. Some fear me and son. monhwɛ bio sɛ sɛ yɛbɛtumi de akɔmfeɛ nan a na sɛ ɛmfeɛ mmiɛnsa na nso na mode bɛyɛ adwuma deɛ a ɛne na mmɔmmɔden na sɛ schools no nyinaa bɛnya facilities na ɔmode adi dwuma.
The NPP team later paid a courtesy call on the acting president of the Sefi Bekwai traditional area, Nana Kweku Chum, and addressed party faithful at the forecourt of the palace, assuring them of better days ahead under an NPP government. At a mini rally at Sefi Buako, various speakers including Mr. Samuel Ebujinapo, Mr. Joe Gate and Dr. Free Yakutu called for change in leadership because of alleged corruption in the government and short-changing of cocoa farmers, as well as the need to ensure fiscal discipline. Nane Akufo-Addo introduced the parliamentary candidate for Sefi Rioso, Dr. Kwekwe Friye, and appealed to Ghanaians to vote him into power this time around.
Hello again, my name is Maurice Ogbete. It's Friday in business tonight. The Ghana National Petroleum Corporation is in talks with the Tama Oil Refinery to refine a portion of Ghana's oil from the Jubilee and 10 fields. Although some of Ghana's oil has been used as guarantee for the 1 billion Chinese loan, Chief Executive of GNPC Alex Mode told GBC24 that the country still has excess crude which can be refined by the country's sole refinery. TOR has in the past 6 months refined 3 million barrels of imported crude. Ghana has so far produced about 3 million barrels of oil from the Jubilee fields alone. By next week, when President John Mahama turns on the valve to draw the first oil from the 10 fields, Ghana will be in the position to produce 80,000 barrels of oil per day, over 300 million barrels over the field's lifespan. 23,000 barrels of oil will however be produced per day in the first 3 months of operations. Unfortunately, not a single barrel from this figure is refined here in Ghana. Although the Tama Oil Refinery has reported refining 3 million barrels of oil so far, all of that was imported by the Bulk Oil Storage and Transport Board. At a press soiree and project exhibition on the 10 fields, Chief Executive of the Ghana National Petroleum Commission, Alex Mode, told GBC24 that the corporation is ready to sell Ghana's crude oil to TOR once the latter is ready with financial guarantees.
In discussions with Tama Oil Refinery to sell them crude oil. Part of our crude oil has been given to the Chinese because of the Chinese loan, but we have excess crude oil. And those excess crude oil are the crude oils that we market internationally. And the refinery, as you know, has not been in good shape in the past, but now they are revamping the refinery. GNPC has been discussing with the refinery and with BOSS to see how we can have our crude oil refined in the refinery. But it requires a financial instrument to be given to GNPC as a guarantee for payment.
Mr. Moult added that the country's oil can be easily refined by the Tama Oil Refinery, contrary to reports that say otherwise.
GNPC's crude oil, the Jubilee crude and the 10 blend, is crude oil that can be refined in the refinery. It is of the specification, the chemical specification that the refinery was built for. So there is no issue with regards to whether it can be used or not.
The 10 field is Ghana's second and major oil field with the biggest storage in the world. So far, $5 million has been invested in the project. The field will also produce 180 million standard cubic feet of gas per day, expected to address Ghana's energy problems. Let's move away from the oil industry now. Transit truck drivers are stuck at the Tama Transit Yard. This is because there is a shortage of mandatory tracking device which monitors the movement of transit trucks. The device ensures that cargoes are offloaded at their right destinations. Transit trade at the Tema port has seen an overwhelming increase over the years. For this reason, many more trucks come into the transit yard to do business. As a matter of policy, it is mandatory for all trucks leaving the transit yard to have their goods bonded with a tracking device to ensure proper monitoring of the cargo and also ensure that goods get to their appropriate destination. Since 2014, GCNet has performed this tracking service with a tracking device on all transit trucks on behalf of the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority. For the past few weeks, however, the device has run out and transit trucks are unable to leave the yard, causing congestion. The chairman of the Ghana Haulage Transport Association, Mr. Abdullah Abbas, said the delay is affecting their business and revenue generation.
The GCNet should provide more tracking device because of the tracking device, some of our cars used to be on this platform, transit yard, about 3 or a month.
The Director General of the Ghana Port and Harbours Authority, Mr. Richard Anamu, said they are determined to rectify the situation soonest to ensure that it does not escalate in the months ahead.
This is not the first time, no, but it's because of the increase, it's now more magnified, and we need to arrest it before we enter into the Christmas season.
Transport and Trade Ministers who were at the transit yard to assess the situation said government will quickly meet all parties involved to find a lasting solution, as this is not the first time the port is experiencing this shortfall in a tracking device.
They're going to work with their parent companies back in Accra to ensure that more of the devices are procured promptly, to ensure that on a daily basis, as I said earlier, we are able to put devices on at least 200 of these vehicles per day for them to be moving out of the port more efficiently and to decongest the port.
Industry watchers say if the situation persists at the country's port, it is likely Ghana will lose her transit trade volumes to neighboring countries. Meanwhile, from mid-September, truck drivers without load-worthy certificate will not be allowed entry into the Tema port to do business. The load-worthy certificate is to ensure that trucks loading goods from the port are in good condition to prevent accidents on our roads. A broad consultation is ongoing with all parties in the maritime trade sector to ensure a smooth takeoff. Still business live on GBC24. Before we go for the weekend, let's go to the interbank market and get latest figures on how the local currency is performing. We also get to know the prices of gold, cocoa and oil on the international commodities market. We do insurance news brought to you by SIC Live. In insurance today, we take a look at construction insurance in Ghana. Now, construction insurance is an insurance package that covers damage to or the destruction of a building while construction is in progress.
Builder's risk insurance or construction insurance is a special type of property insurance which indemnifies against damage to buildings while they are under construction. Builder's risk insurance is coverage that protects a person's or organization's insurable interest in materials, fixtures and equipment being used in the construction or renovation of a building or structure should those items sustain physical loss or damage from a covered cause. In an interview with the president of the Federation of Ghana Institute of Engineers on the importance of construction insurance, Mr. Kweku Buampong said engineers indemnify their project to avoid any casualty.
We have what we call the Professional Indemnity Act and indemnity insurance. When you design, you have to indemnify yourself, otherwise if there is a failure, something happens, you will be held responsible. For all projects you see going around construction, there's an insurance. There's what they call Workmen Compensation Act, and that is for third-party insurance and for the people who work on the project. If somebody should fall and die, he's covered. If a third person comes to the site and gets injured, he's covered.
He added that insurance play a very important role in the engineer circles.
We have insurance for our members for their upkeep when they are old, and medical insurance too. So insurance and engineering go together. In fact, especially in construction.
Builder's risk covers perils such as fire, wind, theft and vandalism and many more. It typically does not cover perils such as earthquake, flood or wind in beach zones unless the policy has been specifically endorsed to do so.
Insurance News was brought to you by SIC Live. My name is Morris Ogbete.
Welcome to Health News. Medications for mental patients are generally given free of charge to patients by the government, but for over a year now that has not been possible. This came to light when the Northern Regional Coordinator for Mental Health, Adam Fuseini, presented drugs to mental health institutions in the Northern, Upper East, Upper West and Bonrafo regions. The drugs worth over $4 million were provided by Basic Needs.
The Northern Regional Coordinator for Mental Health, Adam Fuseini, said the donation comes at an opportune time to reduce the burden on mental health institutions.
The people of Northern Region for some time now, we are lacking these psychotropic medications. I can tell you that the government-sponsored psychotropic medications is not forthcoming. The last time we had drugs was in April 2015.
The consultant psychiatrist for the Northern, Upper East and Upper West region, Dr. Mohammed Sori, said besides drugs, the three regions are challenged in terms of personnel. He said even though every health center should have a mental care officer, that is not the case. Dr. Sori is the only psychiatrist consultant for the three regions.
Mental illness is not caused by the devil, Satan, witchcraft or curses. It's caused by chemical imbalance in the brain, mainly dopamine and serotonin, two chemicals in the brain. So you need to take medicines by mouth to change the chemical imbalance to correct that distance.
The program's manager for Basic Needs, Dokurugu Adam Yaya, said his organization is aware of the challenges facing mental health patients, especially access to quality mental medicines. He commended Direct Relief and Breast Relief for their support and appealed to the beneficiary institutions to give out the drugs free of charge.
We are going to ensure that wherever the unit is, they have an agent in Brong-Ahafo. They will also from time to time visit our facilities to ensure that these drugs are given to the people for the intended purpose.
A major challenge confronting the Volta Regional Health Directorate is the indebtedness of health facilities to the regional medical store. This has become a major threat to the provision of quality health care. The Volta Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Joseph Tai Nuete, raised the concern at the Directorate's review conference.
During the half-year under review,
the region recorded an improvement in antenatal care. Currently, all women in the region have tested to know their HIV status, while over 85% also tested for their HB level. Effective supervision, monitoring, community visits and outreach programs, as well as consistent deployment of community health nurses were mentioned as some of the measures that accounted for the improvement in antenatal care in the region. The region also recorded 111 suspected cases of meningitis, with 12 confirmed to be A and W strains, with 7 deaths in 19 districts. The Central Tongue District detected 2 cases of yellow fever, out of which 1 was confirmed as positive. A major issue of much concern to the Directorate was the level of continued indebtedness by health facilities to the regional medical store in the supply of medicines and non-medicines. And according to the Volta Regional Director of Health Services, Dr. Joseph Tainwete, the issue has also been compounded by the non-payment of claims by the National Health Insurance Authority to the various service providers.
As we speak, the facilities are owing the medical store over 6 million Ghana cedis. Not every facility can go onto the open market and procure. Of course, the hospitals, they can, 22 of them. But the health centers and then the CHIPS compounds, who are in the majority, over 400, cannot do that. And they see the majority of Ghanaians, and it's granting the activities of the medical store to a halt.
Dr. Nweti urged the NHIA to fast-track the payment of the various service providers to avert a situation where there would be no supply of drugs and non-drug items to health facilities, especially the CHIPS compounds, since they cannot buy supplies from the open market. The theme for the mid-year review was achieving improved health outcomes through the use of quality improvement approaches. This is also the Directorate's theme for this year.
Still in health, Nigeria has announced an emergency mass polio vaccination campaign in the northeast after 2 new cases emerged. They were the first incidences of the highly infectious disease in Africa for 2 years. The government said polio paralyzed 2 children in Borno State, a part of Nigeria where Boko Haram militants have hindered health campaigns. The development is seen as a major setback for Nigeria, which was on track to be declared polio-free in 2017. The cases were confirmed exactly 2 years after Africa's last previous case in the Puntland region of Somalia on 11th August 2014. Nigeria's government said that 1 million children will be immunized in the affected areas in Borno, and a further 4 million will also be targeted in neighboring states.
Time for some updates from the world of sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. Ghana's contingent at Rio Olympics has received $50,000 from BOST. In receiving the check, the Youth and Sports Ministry said the funds will motivate the younger team to build on the future. The Rio 2016 Summer Olympic Games started about 7 days ago. Ghana's contingent comprises 16 first-time Olympians made up of 11 track and field athletes, 2 swimmers, a weightlifter, a judoka athlete, and a boxer. In a bid to motivate them to give off their best, the Ministry of Youth and Sports sent a distress call to some corporate entities in the country. One of them that has responded to their call is the Bulk Oil Storage and Transportation Company Limited, BOST. The board and management presented a check for $50,000 to support the team. The acting general manager of finance of BOST, George Abura, said the move is to encourage the younger athletes to progress.
We believe that sports is one tool that any individual or group of people or a nation can use to uplift its people from poverty. As BOST, our doors are always open and we are ever ready to support the nation in a varied way to ensure that at least we also pay our contribution to the development of the country and the upliftment of all Ghanaians.
The Chief Director at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, Mr. Victor Senaya, said thank you for the gesture.
I would like to sincerely thank the management of BOST for honoring this pledge. It is really fascinating the sense of urgency with which they responded to our appeal. The 50,000 United States dollars, we appreciate and we assure you that that money will be put to good use. And it is our expectation that it will ginger the team in Rio to reach out for the highest.
Officials of the Youth and Sports Ministry, like Oliver Twist, say they want more. The Ghana Premier League enters Match Day 24 on Saturday. Here are the parents. At the Doma Park, Aduana Stars will tackle Brecum Chelsea. At Bichim United will lock horns with Inter-Allies. At the Dreams FC will seek to pick up points against defending champions Ash Gold. At the Cape Coast Park, Mysterious Ibusian Dwarfs will tackle Wild Stars. At the Accra Sports Stadium, Asofok welcome Techiman City. At the Dansuman Caridon Park, Liberty Professionals who face Kumasi Asante Kotoko. And at the Obuasi Lenclair Stadium, New DBS takes on Wafa. Still talking about football, but this time to the ladies, the National Women's Football League enters the penultimate stage this weekend. Here are the fixtures. At the Southern Zone, the Tesano Police Park will see Police Ladies face Lady Strikers. At the Sipon Stadium, Hazakers will tackle Samaria Ladies. At the Owak Sports Stadium on Sunday, Immigration will take on Bafana Ladies. And at the Nungwa Maritime University Park, Halifax will face Soccer Intellectuals. And the Northern Zone, at the Obuasi Secondary Technical School Park, Subayo Golden Ladies will face Lepo Ladies. At the Tamale Sports Stadium, Northern Ladies face Prison Ladies. At the Ohini Ameyal Park, Ampim Dakwa will face Ashtown. And at the Wa Stadium, Real Upper Ladies will face Fabulous Ladies. In pugilism, three-time world champion Joseph Agbeko has thrown extra focus on his conditioning ahead of his 3 remaining fights for the year. Agbeko is currently preparing to tune up a contest against Tanzania's Haji Juma at the Accra Sports Stadium on August 27. We now bring you updates on the ongoing major international multi-sport event, the 2016 Summer Olympics. Many thanks for doing the watching, but remember to make a date with GTV Sports Plus for more live updates on the real. That's all for sports.
And this is where we part company. Thanks so much for your time. We'll be back at 10:30 with the late edition. Good evening.